I have a problem. I play BDO. I've played BDO for way too many hours off and on since sometime around its NA launch in 2016. It's a comfort game, one of those that I go back to time and time again during those in-between periods where nothing else is really grabbing my attention. And I suck at it.
Oh my good lord! Holy shit!
Not solely in terms of gear, which has only fallen further and further behind the curve as time has progressed, but mechanically too, as while I've always adored the fluidity of BDO's combat, it's been actual years since I've spent time to get good at PvP. Sure, I can string together skills and one-shot less equipped saps with the best of them, but when it really comes down to it, I'm mechanically inept. Seriously, the last time I had a firm grasp on this game's mechanics, the phrase stun stiff stun was still a thing. And while the community cries and shits itself over the death of PvP and BDO, but with the recent changes to Guild Wars, I thought now would be the perfect time to shake off the rust and throw myself neck deep, I said neck deep, into PvP again. Now, admittedly, I've been busy with other things, so it's been months since I last logged into the game, and the first of many choices in this endeavor presented itself upon logging back in. The last time I gave a shit, I mained Musa, who was, to put it bluntly, hot dog water in that iteration of the game's balance, but that was years ago, and times have absolutely changed as my speedy little mosquito man, once named Barricane of course, seems to be doing just fine for himself now, from what I hear from the community, that is. I was conflicted. I knew my moveset on Musa like the back of my hand, and I was confident picking it back up would be no large feat for the likes of myself. But that'd be too simple, too straightforward. Not to mention, shortly after I last played, a certain somebody was released. Someone that I've been thinking about constantly, ever since the itch to play BDO returned to my simple, tiny, slowly degenerating brain. Enter the Corsair, adventurer, swashbuckler, mermaid, pirate aesthetically, and of course Drip Demon. The hat, the oversized cutlass, the gun, no, harpoon sword. This class just speaks to me as someone who played a ton of Pirates of the Caribbean online as a kid. The fact that I get to command my own little crew of otters is just the icing on the cake. My mind was made up. My Musa would get to continue his retirement indefinitely, and I'd be moving on to new horizons. Before long, I'd be faced with another choice after grinding to the appropriate level. Awakening or Succession, with the former being the more glass cannony range damage dealer between the two, and the latter being more defensively focused, with longer, more protected animations and stronger supportive options. Given the large-scale nature of much of BDO's endgame PvP content, it only made sense to opt for Succession, as its utility compared to Awakening would prove invaluable in making as much of an impact on the state of things at any given time. So I chose Awakening and began— What? Oh, you thought I cared about utility? No, man, I like otters. If you have a problem with that, then how about you click away from this video? Okay, yeah, no, that doesn't work. So I chose Awakening and began the process of memorizing my buff and debuff skills, which I'd ideally eventually be able to use to achieve maximum uptime on my crit rate and AP buffs respectively. This, like much of BDO, is all muscle memory, and with just a few hours of mindful grinding, I'd all but gotten used to cycling my F key and S plus LMB skills respectively. I'm not gonna learn what they're called, and I don't care what you have to say about it. This game is harsh and cruel, however, and its players are much the same. If I wanted to stand a chance in Node Wars, for example, I'd need to challenge myself beyond the endless packs of mobs or the occasional trespassers serving as fleshy practice dummies for me. For better or worse, to improve further, I'd need something or someone who could fight back. Arena of Solair is a 3v3 equalized game mode released in 2022, I'm pretty sure, and is absolutely mind-boggling to me as a longtime player. Before this, one of the most convenient ways to experience equalized combat was to just ballpark it in the battle arena by having the stronger party remove their own gear, but this was honestly just a sloppy solution to a problem that shouldn't have existed in the first place, and while true, you could beat your head against the wall in open world PvP for hundreds, if not thousands of hours to improve, getting constantly one-comboed or constantly one-comboing others does little to actually teach you the mechanics of your class. Go figure. In Solair, I was able to experience combat without these inhibitors, which allowed me to get a much better feel for my role in combat. It might be recency bias talking, but in about a week of practice, I feel like I've grown about as competent with Corsair as I'd ever been on my Lusa. Now, I know some of you are watching this and thinking to yourselves, this guy's gameplay is garbage and trash and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's absolutely the case. I just want to clarify that my only metric for whether or not equalized PvP works as a method of improvement in BDO is whether or not I personally got better. I'm not here to prove to you one way or another that I am a better Corsair than you, or even a better player than you, or even a good player. Despite this, I do understand the importance and value in having a more tangible metric for where your capabilities fall in comparison with others. Not to mention, this video would be pretty valueless if I came out at the end and essentially just said, I feel like I got better. So I resigned myself to the unenviable fate of grinding out ranked matches. I knew it would be more toxic than my previous experiences in Solair, and I knew that my teammates would expect and ask more of me than they might have previously, but this was the price I'd have to pay for science. The fans were dying to know, and I think deep down, some part of me was too. Did I have what it took to sit among the best on the PvP leaderboards? Yeah, unlikely. But maybe, just maybe, something was about to awaken within me. Some latent proficiency that I never knew that I had, one that could propel me forward in the leaderboards, further than I'd ever anticipated I'd be capable of going. What an intoxicating thought. My name among the very best of them. Maybe I do care about being better than others. About dangling my achievements in front of someone who could only dream about being like me one day. After all, it's the ultimate social trump card. Getting alpha dogged on your night out by the taller, handsomer, grass-touching individual in the friend group? Bring up the fact that you're actually ranked in the top 5% of players in the world in raid mobile heroes and watch his smile dissipate as the entire bar clamors over to you to buy you a drink and applaud your achievement. I think that's how that works anyways. I've never been good at a video game. But it was time to stop talking about it and take action. I could daydream all day about being the best of the best, but the reality of the situation was I'd never get there unless I took the first step. So I swallowed my pride and mustered up what little courage I had left and queued up for my first ranked game. Okay, never mind then.